Hello, everyone. This is Kaiju Zilla, and today I'm going to attempt to describe my version of Godzilla Monster Planet. First of all, I think Toho had a great idea. It's genius. The idea that Godzilla would rule a post-apocalyptic Earth 20,000 years in the future, and there's this kaiju ecosystem where Godzilla's the top alpha predator, and then you got other giant monsters living in this environment. I think that's a great idea, and a great idea for a movie. However, some of Toho's choices for this new movie, I don't think were the best. For instance, in Godzilla Monster Planet, Godzilla is apparently a plant based organism with metallic like muscles, and it gives off an EMP, and it has this force shield and shoots lasers out of its, well, not really out of its nose. It looks like it comes out of its mouth in several shots, but anyway, yeah, I don't think that's gonna be anyone's favorite origin for Godzilla. And I thought, wow, Toho, you had this great idea. I like the design for Godzilla, but his origin it's not my favorite, and I feel like they could have done something way better. So I decided, since I thought the concept was interesting, I figured I should make my own version. Like, if I were Toho, what would I have done? So I have created a timeline that is subject to change. I'm still not entirely sure where everything will fit, but I have the basic idea down. Um, and so I was just going to describe the timeline. Basically, everything is canon, but everything is not canon at the same time. Like, things happened in the movies. Um, Things that happened in the movies occurred in this universe that I'm sort of creating, but they happen slightly differently than what happened in the movies. Okay? For instance, this is a major change. The oxygen destroyer was never used. There is only one Godzilla. He was not destroyed in 1954, and he has continued to plague the world ever since he first emerged. All right, there is no destroyer, as the oxygen destroyer was never used. And several other things are slightly different, but I'm just going to go and describe my timeline here. So, the first kaiju, I wanted to do Godzilla as the first kaiju to show up, but then I decided not to. The first kaiju to show up is technically King Kong. I'm gonna have to do a video about this, but there are 3 species of Kong, and one species went extinct in 1933 when he was brought to New York. This is actually one of the smaller species of Kong, and it was described as a minor incident. In 1953, Dr. Shinji Mifune discovers Titanosaurus and loses all his credentials because everyone thought, hey, there's no giant monsters out there. There's no dinosaurs, you know. And it wasn't until Godzilla arrived that He was proven right. So, yes, in 1954, Godzilla first appears. He attacks Tokyo. It's the first major kaiju attack, and the world is shook. The next year, in 1955, Godzilla appears again, and this time with a new kaiju, anguirus. In 1956, Rodan and Meganulon are discovered. In 1958, Varan appears. In 1961, Mothra shows up. And humans begin to realize that monsters are continuing to sprout up, and they're going to show up more rapidly in the coming years. So in 1962, we have another species of Kong fights Godzilla and actually manages to get him to. He kind of defeats him, sort of. But this is the largest species of the three species of Kong. In 1963, Manda appears. In 1964, Mothra and Godzilla fight. And then we see the first appearance of King Ghidorah, and the Earth has confirmation of alien life. This is important as aliens will play a major factor in Earth's space development, as they'll be able to create spaceships based on the encounters here. So yeah, alien life is confirmed in 1964. In 1965, Earth encounters hostile aliens that use King Ghidorah to attack Earth. In also that year, Baragon shows up, and Frankenstein's monster. In 1966, Ibira is discovered, as well as the Gargantuas. The Gargantuas are an interesting idea. The way I understand it, they basically were created from the cells of Frankenstein's monster, and because of that, they're basically going to become like a mountain forest tribe thing on the planet. They're going to become more numerous and show up again in the coming years. In 1967, Godzilla discovers Minya and adopts him. Minya is a baby species of what Godzilla was. And I'm going to do a video about that later on. Humans are exploring more of the Pacific Islands, and more monsters are popping up. We have giant arthropods discovered on Sogel Island, and a new species of Kong is discovered. In 1968, Ghidorah returns and wreaks havoc on several major cities, and Godzilla returns as well. In 1969, Gabara is discovered, and Sogel Island is renamed Monster Island. Alright, not yet. So, then in 1971, Hedorah is discovered. Hedorah is a major player in the forces that fight over Earth. Okay? Hedorah is pollution, essentially. I know he's an alien, but he's essentially living pollution, and he begins to spread through major cities. Everywhere there's major pollution, hedorah goes there to feed and grow. He was not stopped, as any small piece of him that remains begins to grow and spread thanks to humans and pollution. So keep this in mind, as over the years he's going to be spreading around the globe. In 1972, Gigan and Ghidorah attack and are fended off by Godzilla. In 1974, the aliens create Mechagodzilla 1. But Mechagodzilla 1 stood no chance against Godzilla and King Caesar. King Caesar exists in this timeline as well. In 1975, another Mechagodzilla is created, and Titanosaurus is officially discovered, and everyone recognizes that Dr. Shinji Mifune was correct for sure. And then there's not much happening in the next coming years. Hedorah is still growing, but he doesn't really cause any major damage. He's just spreading throughout cities, though. And there aren't really any major kaiju attacks. Until 1984, when we have another major Godzilla attack. Then we have hedorah begins to spread in 1985, and they use a nuke to try to destroy him, and that doesn't work. In 1989, Biollante is created, and if you remember, at the end of that movie, Biollante became a bunch of spores. Now I'm changing it to where Biollante did not fly into space or die. Biollante's spores went into the upper atmosphere and were carried across the globe by wind. The winds carried Biollante's spores across the globe, and Biollante is basically going to become the environment for Godzilla Monster Planet. And in the coming years, there's going to be this struggle for control of the Earth between Biollante and hedorah. I think that's an interesting idea there. You got like the Earth and greenery and life, but also Godzilla radioactiveness. And you have hedorah, which is pollution and just man-made destruction in that way. And so they're constantly at odds with one another. But yeah, Biollante begins to spread in 1989. In 1991, we have another major attack by King Ghidorah. In 1992, Batra, Mothra, and Biollante begin their struggle against hedorah. That's right, Batra and Mothra team up with Biollante to defeat hedorah. Attempt to defeat hedorah. Hedorah is quite powerful, and it's a struggle. It's a war between them. In 1993, Mechagodzilla number 3 is created. And it's created using the parts of the previous Mechagodzillas. Alien technology is what allows humans to build this new Mechagodzilla. Because humans are not that advanced in in our world in 1993. But in this version, because of aliens and alien technology, humans are advancing more quickly. So then in 1994, we have a space Godzilla who is destroyed and doesn't really show up again. In 1995, we have Hedorah and Biollante, and Mothra and Batra and Godzilla, and they're all, they all attack in several major cities. In 1998, Zilla is discovered, and in this version, the eggs hatch. Zilla and its offspring hatch, and they spread. So basically, we have Hedorah trying to cover the globe with, going to areas with pollution and polluting the atmosphere and stuff. And then we have Biollante trying to cover the globe and cover it in greenery. And you have Mothra and Batra helping Biollante. And then you have Zilla, who is beginning to spread in the east coast of the United States and Europe. And it's an interesting story on this version of Zilla. This version is basically the same from the 1998 movie, except, of course, it's not killed, and yeah. So, I'm going to do a video explaining each of the monsters in my version of Monster Planet, but this is just the basic timeline. In 2000, Godzilla battles Orga and Megaguirus. In 2001, Mothra and King Ghidorah battle Godzilla. In 2002, another Mechagodzilla is created, using parts from previous Mechagodzillas and given a updated design, a more efficient design, and improved weaponry. And in 2003, it's used against Godzilla, but this doesn't work, of course. Let me see, and then we have a few more kaiju battles happening between 2004 and 2005. In 2004, we have Baragon, Rodan, Anguirus, and Godzilla. And they do a few attacks to some cities. And then 2009, the Zillas have spread along the west coast of Africa and are heading back towards the Pacific. In 2016, we have another major Godzilla attack. In 2018, the Zillas encounter Godzilla again, and like I said, I'm going to have to explain that some more, but yes, the Zillas continue to spread. Biollante and Hedorah continue to spread. By 2020, we have another new Mechagodzilla. This version is created with new advancements by another race of aliens who have decided to assist humanity in ridding the world of these kaiju. You get some major advancements in space travel. By 2021, Biollante and hedorah are practically even in the amount of space they've covered. By 2023, we have Varan, Anguirus, Baragon, and Rodan attacking several major cities. By 2025, you have a Titanosaurus, hedorah, Biollante, Batra, and Kamacuras. Several Kamacuras are attacking cities. In 2028, Minya is killed in retaliation. Several of these kaiju, understand these are species and not just individuals. Like, there are individuals killed of each species, but like there's more than one Titanosaurus. This is an ecosystem that's being built. And in an ecosystem, you have more than just one individual, except for Godzilla. There is only one Godzilla, and after Minya is killed, then Godzilla just really goes berserk. Like, you thought Godzilla was mad at humanity before. Now he's just really... So then, basically, Tokyo, Japan, completely becomes uninhabitable by then. And yeah, Japan is basically gone. Because, yeah, Minya is either killed on purpose in retaliation, or who knows, it could be accidental, but yeah. Anyway, Minya is killed, Godzilla is really mad, and Japan is basically wiped off the map due to Godzilla. By 2030, we have more major advancements in space travel, and the first spaceships are created by humans. By 2033, Anguirus, Godzilla, Zilla, Mothra, Batra, Biollante, hedorah, Rodan, all attack several major cities. By 2036, humanity begins to evacuate Earth with the aliens' help. They cannot stop Godzilla, and it's nearly impossible to stop hedorah and Biollante. They've just covered too much of the globe, and if you leave any piece of them around, they'll just regenerate. The Zillas are incredibly hard to kill. By this time, most of Europe has fallen. Nukes have been used to try to kill the kaiju, and this is just... it doesn't work, Like, sure, you may kill one or two kaiju, but you just made the environment more radioactive, and the radiation feeds Godzilla and several other kaiju. By 2037, you get more attacks by Godzilla, Biollante, hedorah. By 2038, you get more Godzilla attacks, and all the way, and humanity is evacuating as much as they can. By 2040, however, the last ship leaves, and every human that's left behind, they have to fend for themselves. And afterwards, over the course of the next 20,000 years, it's just a battle between Biollante and hedorah to cover most of the globe. And of course, Mothra and Batra are helping Biollante. And they pretty much succeed. Biollante becomes the main environment for Godzilla Monster Planet. Hedorah is confined to a small space and is basically the La Brea tar pits of Godzilla Monster Planet. But yeah, Biollante covers the globe. She is the environment for Godzilla Monster Planet. Most of these other kaiju still exist. And yeah, Godzilla rules the ecosystem basically because nothing can really stop him. And if you try to stop him, well, he's Godzilla, okay? And that's basically my timeline leading up to where Godzilla completely and definitely rules the earth. Bye, guys. If you like this video, like and subscribe. And comment if any questions or comments or just ideas you have. If you're confused about something or you think something in my timeline should be different, I am open to comments and suggestions about things. But yeah, thank you for listening and have a nice day.